Hello, everyone. My name is Edgar. Welcome to The Creator. Today, we'll be talking about the fundamentals of magic and the elemental energies. I am your host, Edgar from The Creator. Nice to see you guys again. So, to give you guys a bit of an update on The Creator, the store is going to have its shipment of incense sticks around, like I said, around not the second week. Sorry, got my dates mixed up. The last week of December. There's been a bit of shipping difficulties, so I do apologize on that. I am still waiting for those business cards, so if you guys are interested in, my metaphysical store and contact information, I'll be sure to post a picture of my business card. And so yeah. Also, I will start be doing my lives during the week. I've noticed I have too much free time, so it makes me lazy, and I want to get myself motivated. I want to get myself more in tune with my business, my metaphysical store, and this is a great way for me to tap into that energy. Um, anyway, so without further ado, let's get into the fundamentals of magic. Okay, so to me first, let me give you first my understanding, and then I'm going to also give you the Wiccan understanding because I've been doing a lot of research, and I don't even know how I came across this website it's very informative on the Wiccan traditions. So my understanding is that magic is energy, and when we focus our intent on that energy, and we focus ourselves on it, we can send it out and it comes back to us. Whether it be threefold or however many fold you want to say, depends on your belief. Now, the Wiccans believe that magic is founded by basic, from what I've understand. Here, I got back here. The idea you get back 3 times what you sow. And I am in agreement with that. That you every time you do a good thing, you get 3 times as much. And um, they say that magic should be simple. It shouldn't be extravagant and all that nonsense. I am in agreement with that. I mean, yeah, I do more fancy ceremonial magic. But honestly, I have gotten better results if I just if I just say it, if I just put the intention that this is going to happen today or this is going to happen this evening. 9 out of 10 it happens. So I've always felt like simple is better, but I do ceremonial practices with some of it mixed with Enochian magic to the first and second book of Yahweh, the Pentacles of Solomon. So it's all very most of my stuff is ceremonial, but I only use it because I've gotten good results with it. But I still prefer to be simple at the end of the day, and I actually was just talking to them for before I got on live and was like, "Hey guys, I noticed I've been relying too heavily on you guys. So let me just take a few days to just not really call upon you or do any ceremonial magic. Let me do something simple that's just me and me alone." So that's what I want to do, is just taking 3 days to just sit back and not really rely on them, because I do understand how it kind of gets dull for them, because they are just as much got a heart center and all that too. They feel just as much as we feel, so I can understand if they were being a bit used. And it's like, hey, I just noticed that over expending my juices. So yeah, well, yeah. So when it comes down to elemental magic, it's really just utilizing the 4 elements. But if you want to say 9. There's really 10 in total that I have come across. But the 5 are the most basic and well known, which is the spiritual alchemy of air, water, earth, and fire, and ether. But to me, I've always seen 10, and if I will be so bold, I do see 12. I just find it hard to talk about it. It's kind of hard to explain. It's like when I'm in a certain state, I can see 12 elements, but when I'm not in that certain state of trance, it's almost like I can just see 10 right now. But it's like when I go higher and higher and higher, I can see 12 elements. And the last two are very, um, it's kind of really hard to describe. So but the 10 that I do know of are air, water, earth, fire, light, dark, spirit. There's the reference in Dragonic uh, reference, which is Maelstrom, which means raw energy. And then there's chaos. And then there's the void. But I believe there's something in between the void and the chaos, which to me, I believe from what I've always felt that there is that time and space element, which deals with the energy of it's more of a combined energy, because I believe that there are also elements that we can create through combined, but these are the 10 most simplest you can I have come to understand. Just 10. And but it's like when I go up to that higher state, I can feel like there's two other elements. I just can't really describe them if I'm down here. If that makes any sense. Um, excuse me. Let me grab some water. I did not realize how much I have not been drinking water, and I really should start drinking some more water. Tomorrow, I'm gonna go really early and go to the mineral fountain here in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and get some mineral water. So, anyway, so yeah, that's my understanding is that these elemental energies serve as building blocks to the energy in which you want to create in a more physical dimension. Um, it kind of does when I start talking about this. I tend to digress, but so I'm gonna stop before I talk about multi-dimensions and stuff, and really stay focused on the elemental part. From what I've always felt is that Earth always gave me strength. It gives me the sense of safety and security, as well as riches from the earth, and that represents wealth and prosperity and abundant life. Um, but nature can be just as harsh. The earth can be just as harsh. It can make earthquakes happen. It could create earthquakes that then trigger tsunamis or aka tidal waves. It could trigger, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, that's my understanding of the element of earth. I'm gonna put these in here. Sorry, Phillips. Oops, sorry. This is still a brand new shirt, so it's that is just my basic understanding of the magic and the elemental fundamentals of magic and the elemental energy. Sorry, got my words mixed up. Um, to me, if I will say this much, this is something I'm still struggling with to this day. is whenever you do a spell, don't worry about it, don't think about it, don't even remember you did it if you can do that. Because once it's done. And if you continue to focus on it, it's gonna overpower it and dilute it. And that's what I've noticed sometimes with me is I'm focusing on this problem so much it becomes bigger. And that's a lot of the issue with my mind too. Like we can see, like if we close our eyes, let's close our eyes and let's say focus on something that you fear. Look at all the possible timelines with that fear in mind, and I want you to try to avoid just focusing on the fear. Try to avoid it, and tell me, does this fear seem to be getting bigger? And just leave in the comment section. Yeah, a one, it completely got bigger, or 10 is like, no, it didn't even phase me. It didn't really get bigger. You know. Um, Now, I want you to close your eyes, and this time, instead of just focusing on the timelines with just your fear, I want you to focus on the opposite of your fear. So, let me give you an example. So, my fear is there that for me is more or less a fear of my neighbors ruining my living situation because they do not understand me for what I am and my practices. My fear is that they'll do something that will overall usurp my life here in a aristocrat manner. And that's my fear. Now I must also look at the opposite of that fear is like, oh, that's not complete opposite would be like, wait, they're not nosy at all. They're not interested in me. It's only when I do something that gets them, ooh, let me look at that. Let me be nosy. So why don't we close your eyes? So let's put it down to me being fearful of being homeless and me not being homeless. So I want you to focus on your fear, but also focus on the opposite of that fear. Like look at all the timelines that you have created that fear, and then look at all the timelines that you didn't create that fear. And if you notice, you can like, to me, it almost feels like I'm looking at one black river and one golden light river, and it's kind of like that's what it looks like to me all the time. Um, Now, what I want you to see, just open yourself to the possibility of even more than that. Open yourself up to those possibilities that you haven't even thought of. And when I do that, I just see this webs of light just flowing. And now I want you to just open your eyes. Open your eyes real quick, and you see how there's the fear time the timeline with you in fear, and then there are the timelines where you're not in fear and you overcome these trials. And then you also let yourself be open to the other possibilities that are in between. And that to me is, I've noticed that if I just focus on one thing, I let all these other opportunities, all these other experiences pass me by. And that's something I also will say, that it's important to just do your spell, do it simple, something simple. If you're doing a simple beauty spell, just get a bowl of water. It doesn't have to be a fancy bowl. It could be a middle bowl. It could be like a tin dish. Just fill it up with some water, whether it be Aquafina or filtered. It doesn't even have to be filtered water. It could just be straight water from the tap or the pump. And then just put a simple flower in there, and that's it. And just the words are really to help you focus on the intention. It's more of a tool rather than that's not the spell itself. The spell itself is within you, and as you're saying these words, you're charging it with the focused intent of what you want. So that's what I'm saying. Let's do it. Let me show you a little example. So yeah, got the white ring. So let's take this yellow citrine. kind of explain them. Yellow citrine clear quartz, for example. And the yellow is symbolized with the yellow and orange. So there's the air and the fire and the ether. Because yellow is air, white to me always symbolized ether, and then there's an orange, so that orange energy is that fire. So with the element of air, it would symbolize creativity. Fire to me represents the mind, but if we also go back to the beginning, I also spoke about what it also represents. Represents passion, assertiveness. It's associated with the wand card, a spiritual rebirth and resurrection. So if I wanted to use the yellow, the orange, and the white, I would most likely be putting in the energy of passion and creativity that will definitely work well together. So passionate creativity, but also there's that clear chorus. So if I say, for example, I really wanted to get this creative spark and I wanted to just have some fun creative ideas that will help me push me forward to my dreams. And my dream is to be a very successful businessman. I want to be able to my business to be very successful. The creator metaphysical store. So let me just simply say, like, the earth also represents prosperity. So prosperity, success, wealth, abundance. So here we go. We got the simple, clear citrine, and it's orange, yellow, and white. And all I just simply got to put is the intention. You don't have to say words. The spell is within you. The energy, the magic is within you. And just say, my intention is to be abundant and prosperous in my line of work as a business owner of the metaphysical store, the creator. I am successful, I am prosperous, I am golden, I am abundant in all my ways with this store. I am, I am. And just simply take this rock and then leave it somewhere. And I'm going to put it on my altar and just simply forget. Because sometimes if I just forget it, it usually happens. And so I'm just going to forget it. And see, my problem is I tend to focus on it so much, I tend to stop the spell by my own thoughts. So yeah, let's leave that aside. And why don't we talk about something else? So yeah, like I said, it's all about you. You are the conduit. You're all the energy, and then some. We're comprised of we're made of stars because, like, number one, stars have iron in them, and iron can only be found in stars, meteors, and stuff. So and we got 5 limbs, two arms, 2 legs, and a head. That's a natural pentacle. And then we also got 5 fingers on each hand and 5 toes on each feet. So those are another 4 sets of pentacles. So like 1, 5, 10, 15, 20, and then 25. 25 5-pointed energies. That's 25, which is the number 7. 7 is also connected to the angelic realm. So yeah, like, it's just very interesting how we're able to do so much, but yet we just have a lot of untapped potential within ourselves. Um, so yeah. To kind of get a little bit further deeper, because we're only 19 minutes and I'm hoping to stay here an hour, so I think I'll go a little bit deeper and talk about my my understanding and also my hypothesis about the higher and lower dimensionals. So as you know, this is a third dimensional reality, and only third dimensional energy can affect the third dimension. For example, This pen wouldn't be picked up if I didn't have the kinetic third dimensional energy to pick it up. You see what I'm getting at? Is there's that cause and effect. I just picked it up. There's that cause, and the effect is now I'm gonna write with it. So you see what I'm getting at? And that's my understanding is that nothing outside of this realm per se can affect the third dimension to a great extent as those on the third dimension. I mean, that is just my understanding, but I do understand how higher and lower dimensions, well, more or less higher, but I don't believe the lower dimensions can have an effect of greater effect to us. Um, to, excuse me. So, with the one dimension, there is just this. The simple, if you can kind of see. Just simple here. There's the simple dot. That's point zero. That's zero point. That's the zero the point dimension. Now, in order to make another dimension, you need to have another point. And then we draw this little line, and that makes one dimension. Excuse me, two dimensional, which is one way. This is technically third dimensional and two dimensional if you think about it, because it's made in the. It's just very interesting, you know what I mean? It's just so interesting, so fascinating. And then if you decide to make it into the third dimension, you then connect the 3 points like so. Third dimension, it's just more of. And this is a third dimensional cube. There. See? That's a third dimensional cube right there. Isn't that pretty cool? From what I understand is from my research, the fourth dimension is us in the spiritual in an energy sense, energy going forward and backward simultaneously. I also do believe that when we go to the dream state, we're not just it is very, very close to the fourth dimension, which is where it's like the astral plane, so to speak, before you go into the higher dimension of the 5D. Now, the 5D is frontward and backward, and then also going into parallel universes. It's very backward and forward in time, but going left to right through space too. It's that space time energy. And then with the sixth dimension, it's frontward, backward, and then doing a whole 360 of that time space energy. And that's where it gets rather complicated and very hard to understand. You know, and I do believe that dimensions have an energetic part to the 369. I believe that the geometric dimensions help us manipulate the energy we want in this, say, so-called reality. So, say for example, if you personally drew this energy, like drew this whole house, and had a very clear, geometrical depiction of everything in this room, you can then add little energy sigils and stuff, and that energy will take shape in in an energetic sense in this realm. You know, and that's what I found interesting is that it kind of was more of a hypothesis, but then when I actually I said, let me try this out. because I was a very young energy practitioner. I only started energy practicing about 7 years ago. Because I'm 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16. I'm around 16 years old. And that was only because I had a wake up call that I cannot ignore. My abilities were getting very active, and I didn't want to be scared of them, and I didn't want people to be scared of me. So I thought I should embrace my gifts and understand them, and I know not a lot of people do that. So, so yeah, I mean, this is what I've always thought was very interesting. Let's see, let's go like this, and hmm. And so yeah, that's what I'm saying, is that I feel like if we understood the energy of 369 more or less, and Nikola Tesla was right. In order to understand the numbers 3, 6, and 9, we'd have to also understand that how energy, vibration, and frequency works. Now, what makes up a vibration, I, in my own understanding and what I have come as far as my enlightenment, is what makes the vibration is the frequency, and what I'm saying is I believe it goes from frequency to energy. Now I'm writing this down. Frequency, vibration to energy. To energy. To energy. And the reason why I say that is because energy is energy. It's pure. As they say, it never dies. It just merely changes shape, and it changes shape by picking a frequency which makes a vibration. You know what I mean? I believe frequencies are comprised of either geometry. It's like a combination of geometric, but I'm also have understood it in numbers. Geometry and numbers play a really good part in this. And this is what I'm talking about, is that I feel like this plays a part in our magic too, so to speak. If we understood geometries and numbers, then we can even greatly amplify and enhance the response from the universe. I've always found when I write certain numbers, I've always found, like, if I'm like then I was like, oh, what did I write? And I feel like protection or prosperity. And then I write it on say a dollar bill and have it on my altar for few days. And this is just an example, not a reality. I didn't really do this, but it is an example. Say, like, if you wrote those numbers. And this is my thing. I'm working with the spiritual embodiment named Sophia. And Sophia was the life giver. She would just secrete life constantly, continuously, though she was basically considered the water of life. She was constantly making new life forms. And in order to give an order and balance, because if she kept flooding those life forms out of her body, then that would be an over too much life becomes too much, too little space. And they want, in a way, I feel like what I'm getting at is that there are some beings which I believe are like this trine of three, and then there's this trine of six, and there was this trine of nine. And these 3, 6, 9 beings, or like to say monads, brought together what is not what we could call numbers. We call numbers in geometry. For example, a spiral goes like this, but yet we see that same spiral through the ocean shells to galaxies, because they got that twin spiral. And then that's where that comes in with that twin spiral. And then if you shape it the right way, I'll show you. If you shape it the right way, it kind of looks weird. Maybe it's more like this. Yeah. And then you do another minor example. That's the best I can do, but basically our eyes, like if you did it the right way, I'm pulling up my buddy. There's an eye, and then here's this. It's like that spiral. So if you did it the right way, you could use your iris and spiral it that right, and then spiral it this way, and make a miniature cosmos. So that's what I'm saying is that I found a lot of repetitive numbers. Like these numbers help build the numbers 369. They're like the building stones. For example, there's the number 2, light and dark, good and evil, to black and white, to red and blue, to green and yellow. My point is that there is a lot of repetitiveness, and I'm still trying my best to. I'm slowly starting to fathom this energy, this comprehension of numbers, and I'm right there. I'm at the very, almost, not quite, but almost to the very top of understanding how, in a sense, how the universe works with numbers, and it's like I'm so close. I feel it, but it just is taking time, to really understand. Um, so yeah, I do believe that geometric shapes and numbers with the dimensionals, which if you think about it, the composition of the Yggdrasil tree. The Yggdrasil tree is time and space, which time and space can only when it creates reality, which reality is consisted of space or dense matter or in time and energy. So there's density, and then there's this matter energy. Density and matter are also part of the fundamentals of creating a reality. For this could not be tangible without some sort of density and volume, and there without its certain chemical makeup, this wouldn't exist. And this third dimension, that's what I'm saying, is we need to look deeper. We need to really look deeper into how this world works on an energy level. And if we understood that, the 369, I believe that, I believe in what Nikola Tesla said. Um, if science looked at things from a metaphysical or spiritual perspective, I don't remember this exact phrase now, don't quote me now. So, but I do believe that, with that being said, if we took it and looked at both sides of the coin, we would expand so phenomenally, and that's why I believe that we can come together even if we're in our time of need. Even if it takes a magical snake to swallow the sun. If that may. Excuse me. What's this? Okay, December 21st. Okay. Put that there. That right there. Excuse me. Right now. But yeah, that's my whole point, and that's what I'm really talking. What I'd like to express my understanding is that that's what I'm trying to say. For frequencies, can like we talk about hertz, like 438 hertz. Those are numbers. So how can those numbers are connected to the frequency? And what I believe is that for the number part is more so connected to frequencies, whereas the vibration is the connected to geometry. For example, say for example you shot this photon array, of light. It's shooting that beam of energy into. I'm writing it down first. Shooting it into this prism that sits on this pole, and that prism is gonna go one, two, three ways, which is gonna hit one wall, and it's gonna hit this wall, gonna hit this wall, at that pole, and that pole, which would then throw this energy, this trajectory here. This energy would then go there, and then go back to here, and then this energy would go from here. Think about it. From this wall to this wall. Ouch! This wall to this wall. It then go from this and this section here. It goes straight to here, and then go back to this prism here. And then this one would go here, and then go here and here. Um, Here, I'll try to my best to explain this to the school. So this is a photon ray, a photon densifier. It shoots this ray of light here. It's this right here. You can see it right here, and that splits in three directions in a fourth dimensional room. Now, this third dimensional object is, even though it splits in four ways, it has the ability to travel in a 3 times 4 a 3 times 4 value of it has the potential to travel 4 by 3 different ways, and that makes number 12. There's that energy 12. um so yeah, what I'm getting at is that now we got the fourth dimension, but we got the third dimension party putting in play, and it's shooting zoom zoom, and it's always going to return back to the center. Now, of course, I'm trying to get my GED because I think it's important that I actually go to college. I feel like I would do well going to college, and I know someone will recognize my talents, and I would then become part of a research team that will, be able to make a difference. So right now, I'm just in the process of also this metaphysical store, but I'm also trying to get in touch with people. I'm thinking more after the holidays than anything else. So sorry. So I just get so itchy with this beard, and it so drives me nuts. Um. So yeah, I just for me, it's like that. It kind of gets so complicated. Sometimes I just have to take a step back. Like, okay, enough with all the geometry and numbers, all this kumbaya, invoking these said angels, and do something simple. So, but I would like to reaffirm that the simpler the better, because say for example you're like, I want this. Please grant it to the universe. The universe is like, which one do you want first? So don't get mad at me if I grant the wrong one, the one you want last first. You get what I'm getting at, right? So it's always best to be simple when it comes to magic. Don't have too many thoughts in your brain. Don't have too many wishes you want to be granted at one time. Just do one spell, and that spell, or say incantation or invocation, or this energy, sorry. They keep touching my hair. Sorry. It's like I get these little, my hair kind of raises to, it's an energy feeling, and it's like, ugh. So, but yeah, that's all I really got to say. Just keep it simple, because if you tend to complicate it too much, then that becomes a problem for the universe. And it's like, what did he want again? He wanted this car. Okay, so like for example, also be very specific. For say, if you wanted a yellow Mustang with a black striped hood, and from 2019, so let's just say 2019, the make and model and everything. It's like, universe, grant me this car. I know that I already have this car, and so that's my thing. And then before I go to continue with this, and then I already have this car. I know that in a potential state that I have already gotten this car, so I know that I can bring that energy forward to me. I've already assumed that I have the car. That being said, you know, you gotta also like for me, I don't really believe like there is such a way that you don't have to work to get it. I believe, because this is just from my own experience, that I've asked for things and they just appear out of nowhere. They just happen, and it's like you would think you would have to work for it. No, it would just fall in my lap, And I've had those experiences, but then I also blew that flow, because I was like, how did I do that? I was so focused on the amazement that I was like, I didn't let it continue to flow. And, so there is that interesting fact. Now, for example, I'm going to get into law of assumption, and my understanding of the law of assumption is that we assume that we already have that energy, and that energy is just already created. It's already there. It's like, for example, I'm going to use the yellow car for example. So, say, for example, you wanted this yellow car. You know that you already have it in this said dimension, but then you don't have it in this said dimension. So, I got to acknowledge that I don't have it in this dimension, but I have it in this dimension. And you want to bring that you already have this yellow Mustang into alignment. And that's what I mean, is that I think the law of attraction and the law of assumption are very similar, because you just are aligning yourself. You're attracting this alignment. You're aligning, but you're attracting it. You're drawing that energy to you, but you're also acknowledging that you already have this car now. I think to me, that's a mixture of both. And I could be dead wrong about the laws of assumption. Like I said, I'm still new to this whole law of assumption part, but um, that's just my understanding of it. Let's see. For example, like I try to also feel my other parallel timelines. And right now, if I really focus, I feel like all my parallel timelines are good except for one in particular. Now, there is such a thing as energy parallel shifting. You could shift your energy to shift into that parallel dimension. And that is, in a way, kind of like it's quantum evolution type deal, but also law of assumption in attraction, because you're assuming your parallel universe of said energy. And technically, you can't shift unless you swap the energy. You got what I'm saying? Is that I can't just assume this reality and then also assume this parallel dimension at the same time. There's like that cosmic creative law. Like I can't be in two places at once. So that's just my understanding of it. Like I said, it's just my own perspective, and I know I'm rambling on, But like I said, I wanted to make this an hour, so it's almost 44, and I'll definitely be changing the head title to this because, um, so yeah. But for me, I'm still trying to find a balance between the ceremonial magics, and I just have to be okay with that. Maybe sometimes I don't have to be in the ceremonial part. Maybe I could just be simple, and with that being said, let it be and just let it be. So yeah, I feel like I'm learning to do a balance. And what about you guys? What are you guys working on? Tell me what kind of magic are you working on? What kind of um spiritual, emotional, mental lessons are you or physical lessons you're learning to come into terms with? What kind of lessons are you facing right now? Um, I personally am, just as I said, I'm learning to be simple. I'm learning to just be still. I've said this before. I have a hard time just staying in the moment. I'm always focused on the future. And the thing is that that's a bad thing for me because I'm so focused on the future, I forget any opportunities in the now. So yeah, that's just very interesting that how those two really connect. So yeah. Uh, Also, if you guys are I was gonna say let me rephrase it. If you guys are interested, I will be posting another Facebook Live, but this one would be more of a water-based energy, a water-based ritual slash meditation, and it will consist of just a simple bowl and water with the energy of meditation singing bowl in the background, and I will just simply be just guiding you through a meditation, and I'll be joining you guys on this meditative journey. I find if I do this for you guys and I don't do it, it's kind of pointless. And I like to be with you guys when I do these meditations. I like to do it as I'm recording because I tend to get the most results if I'm with people. I've always found myself to just be more active with a second party, second person. Anyway, it is now 12:37 and it's 4/7/28. I am going to end this live early. I hope this information and my ramblings were very informative because I mean, like I said, it's just my perspective. This is just my perspective on my understanding of the energy and magical energy practicing. So please feel free to comments. Say, hey, that makes sense, or hey, can you give me more insight on what you were saying here? Just definitely let me know if you need some more clarification on what all I have said. Much love. Bye.